If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. You can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward.
Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that.
The time is always right to do what is right.
Change does not roll on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle.
You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step.
Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others?
I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word in reality. This is why right temporarily defeated is stronger than evil triumphant.
I refuse to accept the view that mankind is tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war, that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality.
Love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend.
Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination. Let us move on. In these powerful days, these days of challenge, to make America what it ought to be, we have an opportunity to make America a better nation.
We heard in our opening video the powerful words of Dr. King spoken by this year's award recipients, words that ring as true today as they did when they were first spoken. The call to love, the call to be courageous, the call to simply do what is right. These words brought the stirring of a nation and became the springboard of change. In them, Dr. King did not challenge us to strive for that which was beyond our capacity. Instead, he challenged us to begin within, to look at ourselves as the cure to hate and violence and divisiveness. Dr. King's words prompted us to dig within ourselves to find the courage and compassion that, even in the face of discomfort and controversy, would unite us as brothers and sisters. Here we are today, nearly 52 years after his death, acutely aware that the work of Dr. King is not done. Acts of violence and hate continue to litter our nation. Places of worship and reverence have been defiled or wrought with killing. Notions of justice and equality have been entangled in legal nuances and maneuvering. Our children still cannot find solace or safety in our schools. No, the work of Dr. King is not done. Today's award recipients know there is more to do. They recognize that there is no place for stagnancy or complacency. They have put Dr. King's words into action through their commitment to inclusion in our city. With the support of Mayor and Council, the Human Relations Commission created the Tempe Welcomes All campaign. This year's award recipients embody that value in the work they do daily. But equally important, our recipients are laying the foundation for a better tomorrow. And for them, the city of Tempe is quite grateful. There's more of that to come, but now I'm honored to turn the program over to our mayor, Mayor Mark Mitchell.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for gathering here this morning to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King and to support our MLK Diversity Awards. It is so important for us all to be here today to help celebrate and recognize the incredible individuals, organizations, and businesses that help make Tempe a more inclusive, culturally rich, accepting community. These are the goals that everyone here in this room shares. This event has been going on long before I've been mayor. In fact, this is the 22nd annual MLK Diversity Awards breakfast. It makes me so proud to be the mayor of a community that is made up of these great awardees and winners. These individuals are doing great things, making sure that stories from their ancestors are being told, pushing social and political boundaries by giving a voice to younger populations, being the change instead of just asking for change, organizing individuals in schools and community centers to simply be with those going through tough times and ensuring that their peers are not alone. And finally, they are standing together as an entity to speak for those voices that are often unheard, yet most impacted. The distinguished award winners that we have here today come from all different backgrounds, have different stories, and are all different points in their lives. But what they have in common is their love for this community and passion to do what is right. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. often talked about the values of service. I hope his words and his stories, and the stories of our awardees today, inspire all of you. Dr. King said, "Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love." He believed that service to a community and being involved leads to a greater understanding of others. And it is that understanding of the differences, traditions, cultures, and beliefs that is what builds strong communities. In Tempe, that notion rings true. From the events that we host annually to the policies that this council and previous councils have put into place, Tempe is a landmark for inclusiveness. That is why so many families and businesses are choosing to come to Tempe. It's because we embrace each and every individual as a unique person with unique needs and desires. And we have something for everyone, from the Juneteenth celebration to the Tardeada to the Aloha Festival. And this year, for the first time, we are honored to be the host of the Arizona's first annual International Asian Film Festival. I am proud to tell you, well, everyone or anyone that I meet, that Tempe is an inclusive community. Every day, we practice what we preach. Just recently, the Tempe City Council submitted a letter to the Trump administration affirming Tempe's position and commitment to remain a part of the U.S. refugee program. That is because we recognize that refugees are resilient, hardworking individuals and people who have innovative skills and have contributed greatly to our city. These individuals lived through so much and have come here to open businesses, to revitalize neighborhoods, and become productive members of our community. And I was so proud that our council stood together on this issue. At times, it can feel like our empathy is at an all-time low. I would like to encourage all of you to maintain optimism and share that optimism and hope with this community. I look around this room and I see how much you all care and are committed to making this world a better place, our community a better place. There's no time in our nation's history where progress hasn't been met with some opposition. I just want to share a few final updates with you that I am proud to announce that for the 6th year in a row, Tempe has received a perfect score on the Human Rights Campaign Municipal Equality Index. And for those of you that do not know, that this index rates cities on their non-discrimination laws, the municipality as an employer, our programs and services, and law enforcement and city's leadership and public's position on equality. There are 49 different criteria that cities are rated on. And I think getting a perfect score 6 years in a row really does make a statement about what we as a community view that is important in our city. Not only are we working towards inclusivity for our community, we are making strides within the walls of City Hall. The best program to help to create a diverse workforce by providing city employment opportunities for individuals with developmental disabilities. This program is a great initiative. Not many other municipalities are taking a leadership role on inclusion like this. We're also making sure all voices are heard in the different planning processes. The Equity in Action pilot program is designed to increase the participation of underrepresented residents in Tempe in the Tempe's planning and decision-making process. We want to ensure underrepresented residents and those who would not typically participate in public forums have a voice in our city's decision-making process. These are just some of the programs and services coming down the pipeline. This work of being a welcoming and compassionate city never stops. And I guarantee you that in Tempe, these are the values that we will continue to protect and expand, the core values of diversity, inclusion, and fairness. Now, I am very honored to help introduce a truly great advocate for building strong communities and strong relationships. As the first Associate Superintendent of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion at the Arizona Department of Education, Ms. Erica Maxwell has more than 25 years as a certified educator. In her education tenure, Maxwell has served as an administrator, an adjunct faculty member at Chandler Gilbert Community College, and a faculty associate at Arizona State University. In addition, Ms. Maxwell is a co-founder of the Annual Arizona Multicultural Education Conference and founder of Club READ, which is the summer literacy initiative in the city of Chandler. Ms. Maxwell served on the Board of Trustees for Child's Play and was a school administrative representative for the Southeast Maricopa County's First Things First Regional Council. Recognized for her community involvement and excellence in education, Ms. Maxwell has received the 2017 Literacy Award from the Ocotillo East Reading Council, the 2016 Outstanding Adjunct Award from the Chandler Gilbert Community College, and the 2015 East Valley NAACP Education Advocacy Award. Although Ms. Maxwell originally is from Cleveland, she now calls Arizona home, just the city just south of us, but we're partners. She resides with her 2 teenage children in Chandler. Let's give a warm Tempe welcome to Ms. Maxwell.
Good morning to you. And to the spirit of the great Martin Luther King Jr. He would have been 91 this past Wednesday, January 15th, had his life, his passion, and his purpose for justice and equality for all people not been ended by what we call gun violence on April 4th, 1968. Many students in schools today were born after 1968, including myself. They receive Dr. King's legacy of positive change through books and recordings. What we hope is that they also see his legacy when they look at one another and see viable, dynamic, and unbiased diversity in their families, classrooms, and communities. When Ms. Jonae Harrison, Equity and Inclusion Manager for the City of Tempe, invited me to speak at this 22nd Annual Diversity Awards breakfast, I felt honored, and I still am very honored, and thank you so much for the invitation, Ms. Harrison. Thank you, Mayor Mitchell, City Council members, and the Human Relations Commission. I appreciate your efforts as well as the initiatives the City of Tempe implements on behalf of better citizenship through this breakfast and several other events, such as the upcoming Regional Unity Walk, the Diversity Dialogue Program, and the Mayor's Disability Awards. I was very pleased to hear that you will be hosting the first annual Asian International Film Festival. Wow, you all are really doing the work of inclusivity in the city of Tempe. These events show how the people of Tempe value integrity, respect, openness, and creativity, quality and diversity in the experiences of not just the residents, but as well as the visitors. Bayina, Doreen, Gloria, Jevin, AC, Emma, and Jesus, and all individuals who are part of Express Employment Professionals, AZ Youth Climate Strike, and Arizona State University's Committee for Campus Inclusion. You and your organizations represent those same values. So congratulations on being selected as the 2020 Tempe Human Relations Commission Award winners. The first month of the year is a good one for birthdays, starting with Dr. King and the way we'll celebrate him on Monday, the 20th. My mother's birthday was January 4th. She would have been, better stop there, I'm not sure if she would let me say her age, so I'm just gonna say she would have been in her early 70s. And I honor her as being my first person to pour her love and sense of positivity into me. I thank her for representing what it means to be a great parent. Today, during the first month of the second decade, which is debatable, of the 21st century, and my first keynote as the first ever Associate Superintendent of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion for the Arizona Department of Education, I want to take some time to talk about first, especially what it means to take a first step towards something new. You may have heard the quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that goes, "Faith is taking the first step even when you can't see the whole staircase." And I believe it's Gloria that had that in her video. Everyone has done something for the first time, not knowing what the end result would be. Think about how your own first have served as conduits to many of your life experiences and milestones. The first time you rode a bike without training wheels. Your first kiss. Some of your first kiss may have turned into your spouse. The first car you drove. Hopefully that did not result in any accidents. Your first airplane ride home. Your first home or your first child, who I'm so glad to see my first child made it. He had a senior picture this morning and he was like, "Mom, I can't miss that." So thank you for letting me win about 20 minutes of your time before you head back to school. Gotta love that. And of course, my daughter, who is like, "Hey, I'm gonna miss school. I'm not going back. Don't worry about taking me back to school today." I was like, you can go late. I'll take you back. Nah, we're good. We're gonna hang out. Also, think about the first time you might have suffered an important loss and learned how to deal with defeat or grief. Perhaps you were the first in your family to graduate high school and or attend college. Maybe you were the first teacher, doctor, lawyer, politician, or scientist in your family. What would life be like had you not taken that first step? You never truly know how the staircase or your journey is going to be until you take that first step. Consider the different types of staircases you've climbed and journeys you've experienced. The L-shaped or U-shaped ones, the winding, spiral ones, the gently curved ones, maybe even an old rickety ladder. Your first steps become the personal history you'll get to review when you get to the top of whatever staircase you've climbed. I was curious about how the city of Tempe's own first steps shaped its being. Being an educator, I did some research and found that they are and were interesting. According to the Tempe Historical Society, the first people to write or draw petroglyphs on a mountain provided insight about the native dwellers in this region, the Hohokam. The first modern settlers to move to what is now Tempe were Hispanics from southern Arizona. In 1946, Hispanic families were allowed to swim at the Tempe Beach Pool for the first time. In 1964, Gil Montañez was the first Hispanic to be elected as a Tempe City Council member. In 1965, the Livingstons were among the first African Americans to buy property in Tempe. Ed Butch Cowings was the first African American officer hired on the Tempe Police Force in 1974. Betty Greathouse, PhD of Arizona State University, was the first African American honored to receive status as an All-American Woman Educator in 1985. And that was only one among many firsts that she achieved. Neil Giuliano, who served as the mayor of Tempe for 4 terms, was the first directly elected openly gay politician in the United States in 1994. Corey Woods, who I believe is with us today, he was the first African American elected to Tempe City Council in 2008. And Arlene Chen was the first Asian American woman to serve on the Tempe City Council. There are many firsts that are still happening that are shaping this city and this state. Those are notable firsts for Tempe, and lost to history are many other important firsts that we may never know the true date of. When the first business in Tempe built a ramp to accommodate the need of a customer in a wheelchair. When the first community-wide celebrations of Kwanzaa, Yom Kippur, Women's History Month, or Chinese New Year were held. And when any Tempe citizen first recognized the concept of unconscious bias and how it could be navigated through self-responsibility and shape the community. All of these first steps involve standing strong, stepping confidently, and having faith in the future that decisions and actions made or taken at any level would positively impact the lives of others. Remember that important quote? Faith is taking the first step, even when you can't see the whole staircase. The first time Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. spoke in Arizona was in June 1964. Shortly thereafter, the Civil Rights Act was passed. He'd been on a tour of the Western United States, and he was not feeling very well. He apologized for his brevity in advance, prior to speaking for approximately 5 minutes at the historical Tanner AME Church in downtown Phoenix, before resting and then speaking again in Tempe at what was then ASU's Goodwin Stadium. Thanks to the late Lincoln Ragsdale, Phoenix's first Black owner of a funeral home and a key civil rights activist, for making a recording of King's speech. By the way, that recording was discovered at a local Goodwill in a box several years ago. Can you believe it was almost annihilated in the annals of history? You can listen to the recording at the ASU repository. When I first listened to it, I got chills. First steps, they do occur because of faith. They involve overcoming the fear of the unknown in both the individual and in the collective. Being the first ever in my role with the Arizona Department of Education was made possible by faith, sacrifices, and the first steps of my 4 mothers and 4 fathers. It is my responsibility to ensure that their first steps continue to fuel the past, present, and future steps of others, particularly our youth. even when it means that sometimes I must go through the equivalent of a fire. I now realize that my first professional step into education was on a staircase built for a language arts teacher who strictly enforced subject-verb agreement for 6th graders. That climb involved many trials as well as triumphs. Sometimes I stepped with ease. At other times, I stumbled. Once or twice, I have completely fallen down. I learned to regain my footing and continue into my future without seeing that my responsibilities as a teacher, administrator, coach, consultant, and tutor would bring me to the position I'm in right now. I can honestly say, and I think I shared with Larry at my table, I did not see myself at Arizona Department of Education at a state agency when I started teaching back in 1993. I didn't see the whole staircase. I did not see the culmination of everything that I went through, good, bad, ugly, and different, would lead me to this space. Some first steps left permanent footprints on our collective history. The people who took them shaped human experiences in our society in important ways. In 1957, the Supreme Court's Brown versus Board of Education precedent was a first in eliminating school segregation. Yet every day, I wonder how the work that this decision was designed to do becomes undone. The reality is, even now in 2020, schools are segregated to the point where they've come up with a new term of hyper-segregation. If you have children, nieces, nephews, friends, neighbors, children who are in kindergarten through 12th grade, they are more likely to attend a school where the majority of people look just like them. Poor performing schools and the accompanying demographic information is predictable and pervasive in communities where Black and Hispanic students and Native students are a large part of the population. There should be no correlations between the academic data of student performance and demographics. Think about those first steps. Thank you. Think about those first steps towards integration in schools taken by Ruby Bridges as she entered William Frantz Elementary School in Louisiana at just 6 years old. Surely you and I can continue to take first and second and third and fourth steps on our staircases towards ensuring that we serve all students and communities equitably. This is especially important today because when I dissect the data, I wonder how we can still regress into realities permeated by inaccurate perceptions, prejudices, and unfair practices common in the not-so-distant past. These are the challenging steps on the staircase that I climb in every decision that I make. I do have faith that all of my steps add to the collective steps of everyone and will go in the right direction towards positive change for students, teachers, administrators, parents, and for entire communities of people. Will you please join me as we start this new year of 2020 in taking all the steps that we need in order to see and live in a better Tempe, a better Arizona, a better United States, from the top of a sturdy, elegant, and beautiful staircase. I trust that you will. Thank you.
Erica, brilliant, beautiful, and moving. Thank you so much. And inspirational. The MLK Diversity Awards were created by the Tempe Human Relations Commission to honor those individuals, organizations, and businesses in Tempe that have demonstrated a real commitment to celebrating diversity and inclusion in Tempe. Our first category today is individual adult. I am honored to say that I worked with this individual adult at Channel 10 back when we were CBS. She walks the walk, she talks the talk. This has always been her passion. And to see her recognized for something that she's always been, her authentic self, is amazing and moving for me this morning. The first recipient in the individual adult category is Doreen Garland. Doreen works to elevate the inclusion of tribal communities in the city of Tempe through sharing tribal history and experiences. She provides free community presentations called My Mother's Navajo Stories. She shares these family stories to audiences of all ages and backgrounds in a way that sheds new light and appreciation for the indigenous people of our state, their role in U.S. history, and the importance of verbal storytelling to preserve Navajo culture for future generations. In this way, Doreen helps our community to reframe our understanding of history, learn from our past, and yes, heal from it. She also helps elevate tribal cultures as a critical part of society moving forward. So proud. Please join us in congratulating Doreen Garland. Our next individual adult winner is Jevin Hodge. He is Tempe born and raised. He's been active in the community since his early teens. He's a generational standout, engaging young people in civic activities and promoting issues that affect young people and people of color. Specifically, Jevin focuses on the continued improvement of educational opportunities for youth so that all children have equal opportunities to be successful. Still in his 20s, Jevin has courageously opposed ageism, I appreciate that, by overcoming objections concerning his own youth and taking on vast leadership roles that encourage and promote the inclusion of Tempe's youth. Jevin Hodge, awesome. Our next winner in the individual adult category is Bayina Muhammad. Bayina worked primarily as a teacher for the past 40 years. My mom's a teacher. Now she is devoted to social justice and uplifting marginalized groups using the artistic medium of writing. Through her plays written and directed by her, Bayina has brought to light the stories of Syrians, Somalis, West Africans, and more. Using her literary prowess, Bayina helps to demystify Muslim women, in particular, as well as Arab and Pakistani women to Western audiences. She is determined to break the cycle of assumptions and stereotypes surrounding Muslim women and honor the virtues of all societies. Please join us as we congratulate Bayina Muhammad. Our final individual adult winner is Gloria Sheeland. Gloria Sheeland is an authentic support system to the youth and families in the city of Tempe. Gloria co-founded Peer Solutions at Tempe High School. Really? I think I've done stories on that, as other high schools have picked up Peer Solutions. Brilliant idea. She has the courage to address and work to prevent some of the toughest issues young people face today, including child abuse, domestic, sexual, and relationship violence, suicide, and depression. Gloria understands that individuals from marginalized communities are at greater risk for all of these things. So she actively works to shift the societal norms that perpetuate these problems. Gloria gives young people and communities the tools they need to survive and thrive together. Please join us in congratulating Gloria Sheeland. Our next category honors the next generation of leaders. And our first awardee in the individual youth category is Jesus Espinosa. Jesus Espinosa has educated and empowered his peers on issues they're facing, such as relationship violence, bullying, and oppression of all forms. Jesus meets weekly with middle school students to facilitate lessons. He serves as their mentor and models ways in which to prevent future harm through positive actions. He has volunteered at Tempe Tardiada, the Regional Unity Walk, St. Mary's Food Bank, Community Gardens, and other community service projects. Please join us in congratulating Jesus Espinosa. Our next individual youth winner is Emma Eisen. Emma Eisen mobilizes her peers, family, and the community to be pro-social change agents. I'm going to say it again. Pro-social change agents within their hearts, homes, and schools. She facilitates weekly violence prevention workshops during lunch for her peers and after school for middle school youth. Additionally, she participates in workshops quarterly for youth with traumatic brain injuries, and she volunteers at ongoing service projects. The Tempe Tardiada, MLK Diversity Awards Breakfast, and the Regional Unity Walk, which is coming up. Please join us as we congratulate Emma Eisen. Our final award recipient in the individual youth category is Ann A.C. Schick. A.C. Schick works with her high school peers to foster a culture of acceptance and identity respect while working to end silence, denial, and oppression. She speaks up for the safety, equity, and respect of all. She facilitates after-school peer education projects for middle school youth at the Guadalupe Boys and Girls Club. AC also volunteers at ongoing service projects, including the Tempe Tardiada, the Regional Unity Walk, and the Peer Solutions Biannual Day at the Capitol. Congratulations to AC Schick. Our next award category is Business Organization. This MLK Diversity Award goes to Express Employment Professionals. Good morning, congratulations. Express Employment Professionals is an equal pay certified business in Tempe. In order to receive the Equal Pay Business Certification, they completed an extensive assessment. Express Employment Professionals has shown a commitment to equality and to respect for all people. They value diversity and want to be known for their advocacy of equality. Please join us in congratulating Express Employment Professionals. Our next award is in the Community Organization category. This Community Organization Award belongs to Arizona Youth Climate Strike. The Arizona Youth Climate Strike is centered on justice and equity and led by a group of middle school, high school, and college students who are committed to making a difference in climate action. They are working to have communities throughout Arizona develop strong climate action plans, such as the one Tempe has adopted. Arizona Youth Climate Strike recognizes that climate change disproportionately impacts low-income communities, people of color, and indigenous people, and they are committed to amplify the voices of these communities. Please join us as we congratulate Arizona Youth Climate Strike. Our final MLK Diversity Award category is Educational Organization. This award recipient is Arizona State University Committee for Campus Inclusion. The mission of the Committee for Campus Inclusion, or CCI as it's known, is to promote a positive, harmonious campus environment that celebrates individual and group diversity, promotes individualism, provides information to the campus community, and resolves issues in such a manner as to respect all persons as well as their dignity. Engaging a campus with globally diverse individuals in dialogue around diversity and inclusion can be challenging, as you might imagine. But this group has risen to the occasion by providing training workshops, events, and interdepartmental collaboration opportunities. CCI even hosts the Catalyst Awards. Those awards are provided to individuals who demonstrate their commitment to diversity and inclusion in the ASU community. Please join me as we congratulate the ASU Committee for Campus Inclusion. Our final congratulations to all of our 2020 MLK Diversity Award winners. Bravo.
The Human Relations Commission hopes that you found this year's awardees as motivating as we did. On behalf of the Tempe Human Relations Commission, thank you so much for being here, and see you next year.